When there's a justified shooting, police can just release a video and the video speaks for itself. With Antwaune Burrise, the police propaganda machine went into full swing. There was no lie they wouldn't tell and no truth they wouldn't stretch. SPD's shooters assassinated Antwaune Burrise, and then Chief Jones assassinated his character.
It's something we hadn't quite experienced before, at least in my knowledge of recent history, where this much of the community was very, very fearful of this person.
Stockton Police shot and killed 39-year-old Antwaune Burrise yesterday when he accelerated backwards towards them as they tried to arrest him in connection to
the suspect's SUV that has multiple bullet holes. We asked police what led up to officers firing.
Trying to approach him, it appeared that the homicide suspect tried to run over an officer, at which point several officers, fearing for their safety, fired their weapon.
I don't know where he's at. I don't know where he's at. Straight down.
On September 27th, we released an exclusive video categorically proving that Chief Jones overtly lied. Video proved Antwaune Burrise did not ram the police. The police rammed Burrise, pushing his car sideways about 20 yards towards another police officer as part of a 30-second ambush that resulted in Burrise's death. 12:07:17. 1 second blast of siren. The police are preparing to exit vehicle.
Hey, he's backing up! He's backing up!
12:07:22. Burrise is backing up. It is unlikely he even knows the police are there. They have been on site for 15 seconds. 12:07:23. Villalobos enters his vehicle, puts it in drive, immediately accelerates forward. 12:07:25. Contact made. Villalobos accelerated so quickly into Burrise. Villalobos wheel squealed. Listen carefully. Villalobos has struck Burrise's vehicle a second time. The vehicle remains together.
Don't fucking move! Don't move! Don't fucking move!
Villalobos accelerates, pushing Burrise's vehicle several feet.
Right, I'm going
Don't
to
fucking move!
Hey! Stop it right now! Stop it! Stop it right now! We're gonna fucking shoot you! Stop it! Stop it! Shoot this big bag! Watch out, Joe!
This never-before published video from Sergeant Tyrell shows police ramming Burrise during their ambush.
Hey, take cover! I got him!
Got you.
I'm here. I'm to your right. I'm to your right.
Here. Get out! Get out of here! Get back! Get back!
All right, he's putting his hands. He's got his hands kind of down by his stomach.
Joel, I want you giving commands. Copy that. Why is it you now? You tell me what you got, okay?
Yep.
Put your hands up!
Hey, he's putting his hands up.
Keep your hands on your head. Don't move your hands. Don't move your hands. Keep them up.
Because Antwaune Burrise never posed a threat to anyone. You murdered my son and you lied about it. You immediately on July 16th came into the eyes of my community. The two imminent danger events were total lies presented by Chief Jones.
But you asked somebody that grew up with him.
So tell us, is he the big bad Antwaune Burrise?
Twan was loving, man. Twan was chubby when he was younger, and then he got taller, like in his teenage years. So he was always like the chubby kid, you know. He was always the goofy kid for a minute, and then he came back, and it was just like he just matured. He just got taller. But he was always like 6 years younger than me, though. So by the time I was 20, he was like 14, 15.
He's a big bear. Yeah.
No, he was just laughable. Everything was like jokes. Like I think that's what our whole relationship was always just. Everything was just funny to us. So it was just like jokes.
You're gonna tell me that SWAT couldn't have took him down? You gonna tell me that U.S. Marshals couldn't have took him down? He didn't have nothing in his hand but his keys. You killed my son. You didn't want an apprehension. apprehension like that. That wasn't exciting enough. You deliberately, maliciously, and willfully took the life of Antwaune Burrise because that was part of your plan that was executed.
Now, most of us have heard the Chief Jones version of who Antwaune Burrise is, because the first thing Stockton PD did after shooting him was go into the press and assassinate his character. Can we spend a few minutes getting to know the real Antwaune Burrise?
I'm Stephanie, I'm his mother. Since small age, Antwaune has always loved cars, protected his family, and been family orientated. Antwaune grew up, took a few steps out of line, ended up with some troubles with the law. Still loving, protective son. In 2001, he was shot. He almost lost his life, paralyzed from the waist down for over 2 years.
And I think it was also during 9/11, so I think after 9, because it was the day before 9/11. So once 9/11 hit, I think they kind of just swept it underneath the rug.
So he was shot like September 10th?
September 10th, and the next day was...
next day was 9/11.
Next day was 9/11, so it was like back to back.
Left him a partial paraplegic, but he was still Antwaune. During that time, he already had children and had another child. But it wasn't until that time, out of possible fear or whatever the case may be, I noticed that my son carried a gun. And he had never carried a gun.
Things might have turned around after the situation when he got shot. I think that kind of switched up where he had to start carrying a gun. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
you didn't know him as having guns before that happened?
No, he wasn't really a big gun carrier like that because it wasn't really no cause.
Antwaune took 14 bullets in his body that night, and with the support of his family, we brought him back to life.
But I think after the situation, after that, that might have
changed things.
That changed a lot of things as far as...
who knows how you would react?
I mean, you got to really look at Twan's record too. Like, he got caught with pistols after that because of the situation, but you never seen him get in. It was never nothing, no aggravated assault, no robbery, it was always possession. So the first case was...
Was it drugs also?
No, I think the first time was the gun. It was a gun.
What's he a felon for?
I think that's when he became a felon, huh?
Possession of a firearm.
But I think it was
yes.
Huh?
After the shooting, he became a felon after the
shooting.
Yes,
after the shooting.
After the shooting.
Record prior to that, Adrian. Well, there was no record prior to that.
No, but and then even when he got caught again, it was guns. It was guns.
He just kept building.
See, he kept getting caught with the gun. So that's how he got out.
But it wasn't violence.
No, it was never violent.
And it wasn't drugs.
No.
Maybe I think later on, maybe I think he was caught with some weed or I think some e-pills or something. I think that might have been
there was some pills and there was some
he wasn't
weed.
a drug dealer.
No.
I think that was like this, like later on.
Yeah.
He didn't deal drugs.
No. I didn't sell it though.
Ever.
No, but he had got shot, so you don't know
how.
I mean, everybody.
Let someone stand here and say how they'd act if they got shot.
Now this is the most you'll ever see him around. If you talk about a group, this is his family, all last name Burrise, with the exception of one.
That's his gang.
This is his gang.
His cousins.
All these guys are hard workers.
Him and my
musicians,
cousin Adrian were really
no gang
close.
affiliation. All have children, taking care of them well.
Football coach, kids basketball coaches, football coaches.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, you wanted to catch him with a group of people. I need to make that clear. He's guilty. This is his family. But to catch him with any outside banging and all, whatever, I haven't seen it. And we're not sugarcoating him.
It just is what it is.
It's
he
just,
was a loving human being. My cousin right there, Devon,
the way he is.
He said, I wish, why they were calling him a monster and stuff, he said, I wish I had a recording of this monster buying all the kids in the neighborhood ice cream from the ice cream truck when the ice cream man came. he bought everybody in the neighborhood, all the kids, ice cream and stuff. He was like, "Is that a monster?" That cousin right there standing next to him.
The kids would see his car pulling up and they'd run outside.
Yeah.
Because they knew whatever they wanted, they
Sure,
had.
that Chief Jones displayed to the community is absolutely wrong. Documents will prove that, and those that respect and love him will say that.
How long was he in the ICU?
Antwaune was in the hospital for over 7-8 months. He was in ICU for about
2 months.
2 months. Couldn't get him breathing. The bullets poisoned his body. And they had to do another surgery just to save his life because the lead from the bullets were starting to kill him.
One very important aspect of this is through Antwaune's record. Antwaune was being supervised by probation officers. Who was his probation officer?
So he was on 2 forms of probation. He was on probation through Sacramento County. And I don't recall her name because I never met her. And then he was on federal probation, and his probation officer was Wendy Reyes.
When was his last check-in?
His last check-in for state probation with Sac County was Monday the 13th, so 2 days before he was killed. And then with federal probation, she would just randomly show up or call. So I don't have the exact date because he didn't have to check in with her. She would just do like pop-up visits randomly.
So they would come by regularly?
Yes. With the Sacramento probation, they were in the process of transferring it to San Joaquin County, since that's the county that he resided in, on July 8th, which was the Wednesday before he was killed. 2 San Joaquin County probation officers came to the house just to confirm who lived in the home. Antwaune also had a pending court date with the feds because he had recently been incarcerated in the state, so he just had a hearing that he had to attend. Antwaune had a court date scheduled for July 14th. On July 13th, he reached out to Wendy Reyes to confirm court for the next day. She informed him that court had been canceled, or not canceled, it had been postponed. So I reached out to her just to confirm, because I keep all of his dates together. And she did confirm to me in writing that Antwaune had reached out to her that morning to confirm court, and that court had been rescheduled, and she confirmed the rescheduled date. Antwaune was killed 2 days later.
So he was in full compliance with the probation and court dates?
Yes. All the time. Always in compliance.
So all the police really had to do was coordinate with probation, and they could have peacefully arrested him with a phone call.
Absolutely.
Yes. Correct. They actually, his probation officer had called him on the 15th. So before he went outside to move the car, she had called him and said that she was going to come by and do a home check. So he was waiting for her to get there. So as he got the call, he ran his bath water, he went to move the car, and he never made it home.
Has Antwaune ever fought the police?
Never.
No.
How can he fight when he's a paraplegic?
He's never restrained or resisted none of that.
And you have to cuff him in the
Antwaune's
front.
disability, he needed to be cuffed in the front, and if you touch him, he'll fall down.
Yes.
Yeah.
He had to reprogram. It was extensive therapy to get him just to
He
put
had to
one
lift
leg
his legs to get in the car,
in the
like
car.
one at a time.
Yes,
And he
literally.
trained
Right.
himself to do that. He drove with 2 feet.
Right.
He couldn't even drive with 1 foot like everyone else. Like, he literally drove with 2 feet.
So to fight anyone, to resist arrest, he didn't have the capability to do so. In answer to that.
Where was his gun? Could he even have gotten to that gun?
No.
No. Unless he
They
got
were
out the
under
car.
the seat, under the mat. And we have the paper in his car.
The front seat or the back seat?
The back seat.
So he couldn't even have got to that.
No. That's why we say, like, yeah, he carried a gun. Anyone would if you've been shot that many times and left you paralyzed, and the people that shot you are still out on the streets. But you using that gun, you have it just for protection, so that don't happen again. Like,
just in case.
That wasn't for cops.
No.
That gun wasn't for probation.
At all.
No,
At
because those guns were placed for overnight. They weren't placed to get to until maybe he had to get in his car and face these individuals, or might run into these individuals, or whatever the case may be. But the guns where they were not where Stockton PD took pictures of.
Right.
He would have literally had to
and said arms reach.
Open the back door to get to one. Right? And he would have had to either walk around on the other side where it was placed to pull it out and put it up for use. How
did he walk fast? Was he generally
no?
Fast
and even when he stood up, how we can stand still in order for him
to
not be,
he
teeter-tottered to keep his balance.
That's the way
he couldn't. He had to like stand where he could keep his balance.
If you see the way my brother walks, you'll notice
Antwaune's
right away
car was parked
disability
11 stalls away from his front door. So when he came out his apartment, everybody had him in full view because he had to make that left to get to the car. So he walked 10 stalls, passed up a garbage dumpster, passed up a stall where nobody can park. It's crisscross 11, and his car was right there. That's the voice, which is a part of protocol. Burrise.
Thank you.
He would have stopped. He would have stopped. But they did none of the above. None of the above. And having full knowledge that this man is disabled, because like I said, on a pullover, when he says I can't walk or you got to give me a minute, they respected that. So it's in there, whatever that is, when they pull him over. It's in there.
One thing that the video speaks clear, and I don't even think we need to go into it, because I think everyone reasonably looking at this can see that that's an ambush.
Right.
Yes.
Except for the trolls that don't want to believe.
Yeah, except for the ones that don't want to. But if you look at that honestly, 30 seconds is not an arrest.
Right.
30 seconds is a gangland shooting.
Yes, that's what I said.
A half a siren going
off.
off.
A siren going. I'm not even sure he knew the cops were there when he was backing up right there. They hadn't even been there long enough.
I don't think my brother had any idea.
He could turn his head to even see that the
what
cops
even
were
was
there.
going on.
And they talk so much about bridging the gap, yet the leader gets in front of the TV and blatantly lies. Blatantly lies. And one of my questions to him is how could you do that?
How do you say Antwaune rammed?
Right.
Did you watch the video?
We
knew better than that.
I'm going to tell you something. Before everything came out, we all said the same thing.
Yep.
I said, ain't no way in hell my brother rammed a police car. And we know how Antwaune is about his stuff.
I would
Every
be
time
driving
he
and
stopped,
he'd be
like,
wiping the dash down with his microfiber cloth. And I'm like, can you just...
And he has a whole story behind all these things that people are saying about him. Antwaune has a story. Like, people don't know his life. They don't know what he's been through. They don't understand why he carried a gun. If I got shot that many times, I would carry a gun too, whether it was legal or not, because I have children to live for, a lot of children to live for. Like, through the grace of God, like, he made it through that shooting, but like this shooting, he didn't make it. He didn't make it this time, so I would carry a gun too. You know, he had a lot to live for.
Go. Do it again. Dad, do it again. Dad, do it again. Dad, do it again. That's that busting out that How you doing, man? You older, rich gonna get? You wanna get out? Huh? She was moving. Hey, it's your boogie sugar. It's your boogers. It's your nose. It's your daddy nose. It's your daddy nose. It's your daddy nose. You clean the neck, the chin.